In this recording, we're continuing to look at sample problems from section 12.3, and right now I am looking at the exercises from 12.3 that begin on page 659. Okay, in number 12 we have a frequency table. We have values 14 through 26 with their associated frequencies, and the first thing I do is add these up. Add the frequencies up to see what we get. So I'm going to double check. I got 74. Next thing I want to do is I want to multiply each of the frequencies times the value. So we'll have 84 and 12 times our 16 will give us 192. 18 times our 14 gives us 252. 20 times our 15 gives us 300. This is going to be 220. 24 times 4 is 96. And 26 times 3 we have 78. So I'm going to add that column up. 84 plus 192 plus 252 plus 300 plus 220 plus 96 plus 78. And I'm getting 1222. Alright, now I'm going to use that column to get my mean, and what I want to do is take the value times the frequency, the sum of that, and divide it by the 64 frequency. And so our mean is 19.1. So now I want to find the deviation of each value from the mean. So if I take 14 minus 19.1, I get negative 5.1. 16 minus 19.1, get a negative 3.1. 18 minus 19.1 is going to be a negative 1.1. 20 minus 19.1 is going to give me a 0.1. 22 minus 19.1 is giving us a 2.9. Whoops, that should be a 0.9. 20 minus 19.1 is going to be a 0.9. Okay, 24, too early in the morning to be thinking. 24 minus 19.1 is 4.9. 26 minus 19.9 gives us 6.1. So now we have to square our deviation since we're working to find both the, let's see, yeah, we're still working to find the standard deviation as well as the range. So squared deviations, 5.1, the negative 5.1, if we square that, we get 26.01. The negative 3.1 squared is going to give us 9.61. Negative 1.1 squared is going to give us 1.21. 0.9 squared will give us 0.81. 2.9 squared is going to give us 2.9 squared is going to give us 8.41. 4.9 squared gives us 24.01. And 6.1 squared gives us 37.21. Now we want to add up the numbers we have in that column. So I'm going to use my calculator again. Okay, plus 0.81 plus 8.41 plus 24.01 plus 37.21. And I'm getting 107.27 on that. Okay. Now, normally, if we were just doing a list of numbers, this is the column we would use. Actually, in this case, we're not really going to need that. I don't know exactly why I did that, except I'm used to doing it for the standard deviation when we're working with a normal column. So what we want to do now is take our frequency, and let me highlight that column. We want to take our frequency times our squared deviation. So that's what we're working on. So 6 times 26.01 12 times 9.61 14 times 1.21 okay, 15 times 0.81 12.15 10 times 8.41 is going to be 84.10 4 times 24.01 is 96.04. Really didn't need that. 3 times 37.21 is 111.63. Now this is the column we want to add up. So 156.06 plus 115.32 plus 16.94 plus 12.15 plus 84.10 plus 96.04 plus 111.63. Okay, so we get 592, if I haven't made any errors, 0.24. Now to find our standard deviation, what we want to do is we want to take the square root of that sum and divide it by the frequency minus 1. So the frequency minus 1 will be 63. So I'm getting the square root of 592.24 divided by 63. And I'm getting 3.06. Okay, they're getting 3.15, so I may have an error in here somewhere. It could be the fact that I rounded off the mean to the nearest tenth. Yeah, they were talking about rounding it to the nearest hundredth. So I didn't follow the directions. Not a good idea. The answer they came up with is 3.15 for the standard deviation. So I'm slightly off, and I suspect it's because I didn't carry this out to the nearest hundredth. So make sure you follow the directions, because my math lab would count this one wrong. Now, we also want the range. So our highest value is 26, our lowest is 14. This is the easy part. And we get a 12 for that. Okay, so 3.15 is actually what the book says, and I suspect it's because I rounded it to the nearest tenth, which is something we do in my statistics class. We round one place beyond what the data value is, so that's probably the reason we're off by that 0.09, 9/100ths. Okay, but I wanted to do a frequency table. Let's do it with the calculator. So we can see how much easier it is when we look at the calculator. Let me move my little bar here over if I can. It's not going to move for me, so Let's see. Let me find my TI. The TI calculator is ideal for doing the mean and the standard deviation when you have a frequency table, because we enter the values in L1 and we enter the frequencies in L2. Okay, here it comes. Okay, now there may be a little bit of this you can't see. I'm going to clear the calculator. So we start out clear. And I want to go to Stat. And I want to choose Edit. And what I want to do is clear this first list. So I'm going to move up, highlight the name, press Clear, and Enter. So we have our values are 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 26. So we enter those, and then we move over to the next column, and I want to put the frequencies 6, 12, 14, 15, 10, 4, and 3. Okay, now to find the mean and the standard deviation, as well as the range, we want to hit Stat, and we're going to go to Calc. So I'm going to move over, and I do want one variable stat, so I'm going to enter, but this time I have to tell it that we're using two columns, L1, comma, L2. So one variable stats, L1, comma, L2, and I'm going to enter. Okay, it got 19.09, that's what I got, and I rounded it to 19.1. Standard deviation. Okay, you can see that our book may have used the calculator because it certainly carries out a lot more digits to maintain accuracy. So it is actually getting the 3.15. And if we scroll down, we can see our maximum and our minimum, and we know to subtract 26 minus 14 then to get our range of 12. Okay, so that's our Smart View.